I want to share with you the three mistakes that destroyed my business and took it from 100K a month to $0 a month. This was a few years ago, back in 2019, with my first ever business. It was an e-commerce store doing drop shipping, as you can see by the screenshots. This was the first month that we ever did more than 100K. And consequentially, as you can see here, maybe you can see it like this line right here, represents also the same day that we crossed more than $10,000 in a single day of revenue. Profit margins were between 30 and 40%. And we had to cut this month short because Chinese New Year's was coming and the factories in China shut down, so we didn't have any more products to sell. So we ended up closing only at 131,000 a month. Conversion rate was 3.43%, which is pretty decent, I would say, for an e-commerce dropshipping store. Here you can also see the average order value of almost $80 and some other metrics. And these are the emails that we used to get from, I think this is only Stripe, so we had more money coming in from PayPal, I believe. So you can see like 4K a day, 15,000, 4,000, 2,000, 3,000, 8,000. So anyways, I want to share with you the three mistakes that took this pretty nice business to zero, because everyone online is making videos on how I started a business from zero to 10,000 a month or 50,000 a month or 100 a month. And for sure, there's a lot of value in that, but I think there might be even more value in showing you how once you have a successful business, what actually destroys it, what takes it to the ground, right? So this is what I want to share with you. And also I want to just be authentic, right? Let's not pretend that success is only like up, right? There's a lot of failure. So this is what I want to share with you. So mistake number one that we did was to change our winning strategy. What do I mean by this? So this column right here are the products that we sold that were very, very successful, right? So here you have a yoga swing, here you have a fishing spooler, and here you have a tongue scraper. What do they have in common? What they have in common is that they have some very specific utility. And also, once we recorded the ads for these products and we made the videos, they are very visually impactful, right? They're products that once you see the utility, it's very visual, it's very engaging, it's very interesting visually too. For example, I have no interest in fishing, but it was such a cool video to watch how this thing functions, and the same thing with yoga. I don't do yoga, but this video ended up being really, really cool. The screenshots that I was showing you before here, the 100K a month, 12,000 a day, all of this stuff, it was mostly this product. This was a banger, and it's because the video that we ended up crafting was really cool. But basically, these are the things that we were special in. That was our edge. That was our kind of quote unquote niche. It was not so much the market that we were in, like, oh, we sell yoga products or fishing or whatever. No, it was like this utilitarian approach to products, right? The thing is that we had a few months in which things were not working out that well for us. And what ended up happening is that we went to Singapore to a mastermind by Steve Tan and Evan Tan, which it was great for sure, but these guys were making in a day what we were making in a month, right? So these guys were making like 100K a day, 200K a day, 300K a day. I think they even had a screenshot of like 400K in a single day. And what they were selling? These kind of things, right? They were selling like silly charging cables. They were selling like these silly flashing piggy toys, these silly pendants. You know, this was a pendant that you would look through this thing right here, like this glass, and you would see the word like I love you written in 100 different languages. And what happened is that because we were at a down point in our business, we thought like, you know, maybe we're doing things wrong. Let's just change everything we're doing and let's start selling these things. And that's what we started doing. I think on these piggies, I think we maybe spent like $10,000 trying to sell this thing on Facebook ads. We barely sold any of them, like maybe a few, but we wasted most of our money. And same thing with these flashing charging cables and these silly pendants, and then many other things that I don't even remember. But the thing here is that if you got to a point that doing something, you got to 100K a month with like products, it's just, and this was your first time, for sure you can scale this thing to 500K a month, a million a month, 2 million a month. It's just that you just have to be patient with it and be able to sustain the ups and downs and bumps in the road and everything. And that's the thing that we did not understand. Like we forgot, we lost track of whatever it is that got us there to begin with. So there might be some special edge that you have, something that you understand. So just double down on it, not just at the first turn, like change your winning strategy. Don't forget what made you win to begin with. This is the first big lesson. And if you take advice from people from the outside, which for sure, I mean, they were making way more money than us, make sure that if you're taking advice, it's not something generic. Make sure that it's someone that has sat down with you, is doing something very similar to what you're doing. They understand your skills, your situation, your business, where you want to go, everything about it. And then you listen to their advice, But even if they're in the same industry, if it's some generic advice that you hear on YouTube or whatever, like, be very careful with it, okay? Because if you get to these levels, I know 100K a month is not crazy. A lot of people are making way more, but it's still something, okay? So you're not a complete newbie. You should also listen to yourself and realize that you might be a borderline expert on whatever it is that you're doing. Now, the second mistake, and this one is very common in e-commerce and dropshipping, was to not diversify winners. Okay, so if this circle, this chart represents your money, and not just money, but like resources in general, your time, whatever, your energy into the business. The big problem that we had was that this part right here, all of this, would be spent on one single product, right? So for example, the yoga swing that I was showing you. And then maybe we would have like a couple other products that we were testing, doing a little bit, but not much. What's the problem with this? That eventually all products die. And what happens once this goes out? Well, the problem is that now you go from 100K a month to 10K a month, right? Or even less, 5K, I don't know, whatever this represents. And maybe the thing is that this 10K a month, it's not optimized. So you're not in profit right now because maybe it's just empty revenue. And what this should have looked like, it's something like this, probably. It is inevitable that some product is gonna take the majority of it, right? But at least you should try to aim for a more even distribution of the money you're making, and then you can have like a lot of small ones that you're trying, E, F, G, whatever, and a lot of different small products, so that in case this one goes, you at least still have like 50% or 60% or 70%. And regardless of whatever business you might be running, it's the same thing. Like just try to extrapolate the lessons into the business. So for that you have. So if you have a social media marketing agency, it's the same thing. Like you wouldn't want to have one single client. What if they go out of business? What if they switch to another marketing agency? Like whatever. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So it's the same thing, right? If you have a marketing agency, try to have a few clients, okay? Do not rely on just one single person. And the problem is that a lot of people, the reason why this mistake happens is because we don't want to fall into the shiny object syndrome, whatever it's called, because we're like, no, I have to focus on one thing, which for sure it's true, but you have to focus on your business. But within your business, e-commerce, have multiple products. You're in the business of selling things. So try to diversify, have different verticals, even in different niches, right? Or things that might cover different seasonalities. Because for example, if I was only in fishing, as I was showing you before, I might make a lot of money in the summer, but what happens in colder months that maybe people don't fish as much, whatever. So find ways in which you can diversify within your focus, okay? Now, mistake number 3 is to forget the foundation. And what I mean by that is it's different from what I meant on mistake number 1. So what makes an e-commerce business successful? We could talk a lot about this, but I would say, is the product you're selling, your distribution, which for me was ads, but whatever form of traffic you're running. And then, honestly, then we could call it like systems or your website, your backend, whatever terminology you want to use. If you have a solid product, if you have a solid video, 10 out of 10 here, and 10 out of 10 video for your ads, or even there's an image, whatever it might be, you have a solid website that's clean, smooth, runs fast, you're gonna make a lot of money. What's the problem? That when things were not going well, because the reality is that nothing is ever smooth sailing, what a lot of people do, and what we did very often, was to start focus on the minor things, right? Not on the foundation, the things that truly make things work. We started to focus on, let me try this crazy, weird Facebook ad strategy in which I create 2 Facebook profiles, and then I have, I don't know how many business managers, and then I have these ad accounts here, and I do this weird, whatever distribution of the budget. These things, like, yeah, for sure, they help you a little bit, right? A few, maybe 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. But usually, 99% of the times, there's some cases in that it might help a lot actually, but 99% of the times, usually, it's not going to multiply your revenue by 10x, by 50x, by 100x. What's going to multiply your revenue by 100x is to have an insanely good product, an insanely good video ad campaign, and a really smooth, good website that knows how to drive people through your funnel. These are the foundations. This is what I mean. It's the exact same thing with health. Just to make the point very, very clear. What gets you jacked? Lift heavy things, eat clean, get good sleep. That's it, right? But a lot of people try to go into the supplements and this thing, and let me try this weird exercise and what. Just forget all that, right? Focus on the foundation. The foundation is what builds 100K a month, 500K a month, $1 million a month. It's not the small details that do that. So now there's one extra thing that I want to mention, which I know I said 3, but 3 is a prettier number than 4. But here's the last one that I want to mention. This graph that you've seen all your life is completely fake, okay? Success, obviously, because this is something that I was talking about before, success is not linear, for sure, we know that, but this part right here is also false. This is not how it works. Because the problem with this is that, okay, you start, then you have all these ups, downs, left, right, backwards, forwards, and then you reach a point in which like, okay, now it's good, smooth sailing, but just by the way this is drawn, this is completely false. You're never going to reach a point in which things are just like smooth sailing. The reality is that it's only what you have here in the middle. It's always going to be like this, right? It never ends. It's always going to be like that. And what happened with us is that once we reached these higher levels, and we thought like, oh, now we're good because we just made like 100K a month. We are successful now. Well, no, we're still right here in the middle, right? There's gonna be new problems, new challenges to face, new everything. And for some reason, like the fact that you're operating under the premise that now things should be smooth sailing, it really messes with you. And I think this right here is the catalyst that leads you to make these 3 mistakes, right? So this 4th thing leads you to make these 3 mistakes. So just try to think about this and try to think about how these 3 things apply to your own business and analyze if this is a possibility, like maybe you can spot some of them that you're already doing, okay? So that's it for this video. I hope you like it. Subscribe to the channel, leave me a like, leave me a comment, whatever it is. I recorded this video a long time ago, but I just wanted to redo it because I think it's pretty important and I didn't like it the first time that I recorded it. So anyways, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and that's it. And hopefully I will see you on the next video. Take care. Peace.